What is up, guys? My name is P-Winall and welcome back to another Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire video. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how you can transfer Pokemon from your Pokemon X and Y copy to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire without the use of a second 3DS or without Pokémon Bank, just by using the Global Trade Station, the GTS for short. This is particularly useful for those of you that maybe just flat out refuse to pay the subscription fee to use Pokemon Bank, or for those of you that don't have a second Nintendo 3DS but want to transfer Pokemon and items from Pokemon X and Pokemon Y to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Some Pokemon aren't available for capture in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, such as Mewtwo, such as Zapdos, such as Moltres, such as Articuno. And yeah, that's the only way to actually get them on this game, by trading them over, by transferring them over from Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. Also, for those of you that, I don't know, grinded a lot with the Battle Maze on to get a lot of battle points and a lot of battle items on Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, but can't be bothered to actually do all that again, get a ton of battle points to get your Toxic Orbs, to get your Choice Scarfs on Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. This is particularly useful because those items are transferable over the GTS. Now, the only items that you can't transfer over the GTS, unfortunately, is Mega Stones. So Mega Stones such as the Garchompite, such as the Lucarionite, unfortunately they're rather difficult to get in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and you can't trade them over the GTS. So if you want a quick way of getting them to Mega Stones, you are going to need a second Nintendo 3DS. But that's pretty much all the basics. This is very self-explanatory. This is something I didn't think of, and when I saw it on Reddit, unfortunately I can't trade right now, when I saw it on Reddit, I was like, oh, that's super obvious. Of course we should use the GTS to transfer items and Pokemon, because the GTS is compatible with both X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, because it's Generation 6, it's all intertwined, I guess. So you're going to want to capture a Pokemon on Route 101. A Wurmple, a Poochyena, or a Zigzagoon will work perfectly for this little method, because they're Pokemon that no one's going to trade for on the GTS. And if you request a Mewtwo, no one is going to trade a Mewtwo for your Poochyena. And if they do, you win anyway. So that's fantastic. So you're going to want to put up a Pokemon that's of very little value online to transfer to trade on your Pokemon X and Y copy, I guess is the best way to describe it. So I'm going to deposit a Poochyena I caught just briefly off screen right there. Here's the Poochyena, nothing special about it, nothing shiny. No one is going to want to trade a Pokemon of any value for this Poochyena. I'm going to say I want a Quilava. This probably works best if you say you want a legendary Pokemon, because as I said, no one is going to trade their Mewtwo or Zapdos for your Poochyena. That would just be stupid, and you'll win anyway. So I'm just going to say that the message is P-Winall, just so I know it's mine. So yeah, the message is P-Winall. This will come up on the GTS right now. You'll be able to find it on X and Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, which is super useful. I picked Quilava because that's a Pokemon I know I have on my X and Y copy, because I transferred nearly everything over via Pokemon Bank. But this is a particularly useful method for those of you that don't have a second Nintendo 3DS and want to transfer items such as Choice Scarfs, such as Choice Specs, all them items that you worked so hard for in X and Y, and well, can't be bothered to do the effort now, because I don't blame you. After doing all that in X and Y, you probably don't want to exactly do that. So now we're going to head on over to our Pokemon X copy. It doesn't matter if you have a digital copy or whatever, it just doesn't matter, because it's going to connect to the GTS, it's going to connect to the online services very easily anyway. So I'm just going to go over to the GTS in Pokemon X. I'm going to put an item on my Quilava. It should be in my party, so yeah, we should be alright. I'm going to put I don't know, let's put what shall we put? Unfortunately, we can't put Mega Stones on there. That's kind of a shame, but it's okay. I guess that's just, it's a restriction. We have to deal with that. I'll put a Lucky Egg. I'll put a Lucky Egg on Quilava, but it doesn't matter what item it is, just as long as it isn't a Mega Stone. So now I'll connect to the online services. I'll connect to the GTS. And then I will find the Poochyena on the GTS. It might get bugged down just a little bit due to the amount of people who might be trying this, or might be just kids trying to swindle popular Pokemon for their worthless Route 101 Pokemon. But yeah, we'll be able to find it because we set our name, we set the little message as PD Winnall. We'll be able to find it. I recommend you guys do the same just so you know what you're trading for. But yeah, just so you know that the Pokemon you're trading for is going to the right person. So anyway, we're going to look for Poochyena. If my touchscreen isn't finicky. Where's Poochyena? Poochyena is... oh, there it is. And we will search with these conditions because we didn't... I don't know, remember what level it was or anything. So anyway, we're looking for one that says PD Winnall. Which one is it going to be? There it is, PD Winnall. So we'll just simply trade for this. Here's Aquilava holding a lucky egg. It can hold any item but Mega Stones. I just really want to stress that. That's the third time I'm saying that in this video. Just want to stress it because unfortunately Mega Stones can't be transferred. As I said, Garchompites and Lucarianites are very difficult to obtain in Auras, so yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But anyway, now we're transferring Aquilava from X and Y to Pokemon Omega Ruby copy without the use of Pokemon Bank, and we're also transferring items. This is a little bit of a long method, I guess, unfortunately, but this is the only way of transferring items without the use of a second Nintendo 3DS. But it can be useful. It can be really useful. If you guys have legendary Pokemon you want on your Pokemon Omega Ruby copy, on your Alpha Sapphire copy, then this will do the trick. This will definitely work. So let's go back over to Pokemon Omega Ruby. I know that it takes a while to actually connect online. I should probably update. So anyway, after just briefly updating my Pokemon Omega Ruby copy, because I forgot to last night, oops, we are connected back to the internet, connecting back to the GTS, so we can actually claim Aquilava, which is super nice. Aquilava with a lucky egg. Once again, this does work with any Pokemon, except for event legendary Pokemon like Darkrai and Deances and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a really nice method of just transferring over Pokemon if you don't have a second Nintendo 3DS or Pokemon Bank. I highly recommend you using Pokemon Bank. This is just a last resort, I guess, if you don't have a second Nintendo 3DS. This is a really good method of trading over items, but it's not the most ideal way of transferring over Pokemon. So yeah, I do hope you found this useful. We'll take a look at Aquilava right now with its lucky egg. A third lucky egg in Pokemon Omega Ruby, I believe, because I got a couple by using the Pelipper trick I showcased in a couple of videos ago. So let's have a look at our PC, and yeah, we can just take a look at Aquilava with our lucky egg. The item is retained. Fantastic. So there you go. There's a little tutorial on, if I can even speak properly, little tutorial on how to transfer Pokemon and items from X and Y to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire without the use of a second 3DS or Pokemon Bank. I hope you guys have found this useful. A like as always would be really appreciated, and feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any more of my future Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire videos. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.